Systemic advocacy is kind of contrasted to individual advocacy, and in individual advocacy you're advocating for one person for the result that they're after. But in systemic advocacy there's usually a problem with the system, to put it simply. So lots of people are experiencing the same problem, and when we're doing systemic advocacy work we're trying to change the system so that it applies to everybody rather than just one person.
The situation we were faced with in this region was that the local people didn't have access to legal services. So there was a bit of a systems failure. There was a hole in this particular area. People with disabilities couldn't get legal assistance, and that was our main objective, to sort of fill that gap and overcome that barrier.
So the establishment of the Community Legal Centre is an example of systemic advocacy, in that people identified that there were people living in the Mid-North Coast region that did not have access to justice. And so then by doing that groundwork, the research, establishing the need, what it was, and then approaching government and kind of convincing our government that a legal centre should be funded here, that is the systemic solution to the problem, by funding a community legal centre here. Having a lawyer or having access to legal advice means that people know what their rights are, know what possibilities that they can explore, and many times it does lead to a better outcome for them than if they didn't have that access to advice. Julie was referred to us by a disability advocacy organisation. She had an issue with her daughter being suspended from school due to her disability.
There was an upset with the taxi not being approved, and that resulted in her being dragged kicking and screaming to her classroom every morning, and the school suspended her 3 times in the first 6 weeks.
Her daughter had been suspended, I think, about 9 times by the time she came to us.
Before that, I never knew that they could possibly suspend a child like my daughter. I thought that that was against the law. Unfortunately, I found out that it wasn't just my child being suspended from school repeatedly, but other children in the same situation were being suspended repeatedly as well.
Marie just told me that you had a meeting with the school yesterday and things didn't go so well. Yeah, do you want to tell me a bit about it? We helped her by giving her legal advice, attending meetings with the school, and helping her with a complaint to the New South Wales Ombudsman. And all of that resulted in the Department of Education policy around suspension being reviewed.
An outcome of systemic advocacy in this case has been the case of Julie and her daughter Annie Rose. I mean, they had education issues where she had problems with her school and accessing her school. The legal centre has been able to be involved in that. Our advocates have also helped, but with the help of the legal service, she's been able to get a greater level of local legal help to move towards resolving her issue.
What I love about systemic advocacy is that it makes a difference for a lot of people. So sometimes we see issues one at a time, we help one person at a time, and although that's great to be able to make that difference to that person's life, we know that there's hundreds or thousands of other people going through the same problem.
It's been really wonderful to see the staff at her new school, how they have a great rapport with her and with each other, and how they work together, and to know that yes, there was a better way.